Chapter 91 One After Another, Su Chen's Absolute Advantage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 91, One After Another, Su Chen's Absolute Advantage. During the discussion in the live broadcast room, several members of the expert team, led by Luo Ji, passed through many mirrors and arrived at a place. There were finally no those damn mirrors in front of him, but a slit through which only one person could pass. Luo Ji paused, turned around and whispered. It seems that we have reached the exit. Although their movements were fast, it took less than a minute. During this period of time, Su Chen's figure in the mirror had long since disappeared. Relax, brother Luo. Shi Yong stared at the exit in front of him and asked. We're back to the exit the way we came, right? Luo Ji nodded and said. Yes. That'll be easy. Shi Yong walked up to Luo Ji and signaled to the experts behind him. Su Chen may be ambushing in front. I have more experience. I will take the lead this time and have my guns ready. When you see Su Chen, you don't need to fire a warning shot, just look at the torso and hit him. According to the rules of the show, once he is hit by a paintball, he will lose his mobility. Yes. As soon as Shi Yong finished speaking, the two police officers behind him loaded their guns with a click. The barrels of their guns were flat and pointed at the empty space in front of Shi Yong, forming a fire area for a three-person team. This is an old training program for frontline criminal police. This formation allows three people to cover each other without leaving any visual blind spots, find the enemy and deal with it quickly. After receiving the replies from the two police officers, Shi Yong waved his hand. Superior. He rushed out first, pointing his gun directly into the darkness, looking for Su Chen's figure. After walking through the mirror maze, their eyes have already adapted to the darkness. However, he did not see Su Chen's trap as he expected, nor did he see Su Chen. Not quite right. According to what Luo Ji said, since they were returning the same way they came, the scenery around them should be familiar to them. However, this place, the more I look at it, the stranger it becomes. Shi Yong took a closer look and found a few thumb-thick iron rods standing in front of him, and he suddenly screamed something bad in his heart. Go back, don't come over. He turned around, just about to let the rest of the expert team walk back to the maze exit. However, mid-sentence, he froze, because the narrow passage behind him had quietly disappeared without knowing when. Realized something was wrong. The other members of the expert team immediately dispersed and looked around, only to find that dozens of iron bars had been quietly erected around them. They were trapped inside and outside in this small space. Oops, this is a trap. Shi Yong's pupils suddenly narrowed and he whispered. I fell into that kid's fucking trick again. Beside Shi Yong, Luo Ji remained rational and looked around. He was also stunned. How is this possible? My calculations are not wrong. We are obviously back to where we were when we came in. How did we end up here? No, this is not where we came from. How could the road behind disappear into thin air? Although I know that this is most likely Su Chen's fault, however, several people on the expert team felt chills running down their spines. This is so weird. The live broadcast room was also confused. This is just like a ghost movie. What is going on? Could it be that this was not the exit they exited through, and Luo Ji made a miscalculation? It seems unlikely. Since this was Su Chen's trap, he couldn't possibly have foreseen the error in Luo Ji's calculations, right? The light is too dark to see clearly. My cabinet moved and I stopped looking. Don't be nervous, everyone. Wang Yanqing, who had been silent until now, suddenly spoke up. He looked at the iron bars surrounding him, his eyes flashing, and then he turned to Shi Yong and said. Officer Shi, please shoot here. Wang Yanqing stretched out his hand and pointed to the original location of the slit. Shi Yong checked his magazine and said to a police officer next to him. I have used 3 rounds of bullets. This time, you shoot. The officer nodded. Although he didn't know what Wang Yanqing wanted, he still pointed the gun at the place where they came from, and shot out an Easter egg. Snap. The egg passed through the gap in the iron rod and hit a place similar to a wall, and the paint spread out. Qin Ming frowned. How could the road we came on turn into a wall? And the next scene made his eyes widen. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, the piece of oil paint fired from the paintball gun actually began to move slowly. Soon, it turned to one side. Can you say? Qin Ming was surprised and speechless for a moment. Yes, spin. Wang Yanqing took a long breath and said. I just saw something was wrong here, and this moving Easter egg stain further verified my suspicion. The entire mirror maze we just stayed in is slowly rotating. That this sentence instantly made others wake up. I see. In this way, Su Chen's entire operating technique can be reviewed. When we first entered the mirror maze, Su Chen had already started the overall rotation of the maze. Luo Ji analyzed. It's just that at that time, because all our attention was attracted by Su Chen, we didn't notice the slow rotation of the mirror maze. Shi Yong frowned after hearing this. He had been using diversion methods before, taking advantage of Usuji Karate's temptation to sneak in and change things under Su Chen's nose. Unexpectedly, Su Chen used the same method to divert his attention so quickly, thus entering his trap. Shi Yong also fell into thinking. So, this is why Brother Luo didn't go back to the beginning when he took us back the way we came. Because the exit of the entire mirror maze has moved elsewhere with the rotation of the entire maze. No, it should be said that Su Chen deliberately made the exit of the maze connect with his trap. So as soon as we walked out of the maze, we fell into Su Chen's second trap. Having said this, even Shi Yong broke into a cold sweat. I originally thought that their surprise attack had exceeded Su Chen's expectations and caught him off guard. However, I didn't expect that all of this was actually based on that man's careful calculation. He controls the entire situation and controls almost all the resources in the circus, and carefully designed ways to deal with the expert team. The clown who kept helping Su Chen on the table was just the most conspicuous chess piece. It is also the one that attracts attention. Just like Usuji Karate's, they fell into Su Chen's attention trap. In fact, Su Chen had many secret helpers, waiting for opportunities everywhere in the circus. Traps, one after another. Just when the expert team thought they had escaped one trap, they also fell into another trap. It's simply impossible to guard against. It seems that Su Chen turned off the spin after connecting the exit of the maze to the trap, or asked someone in the circus to turn off the spin. Qin Ming said. After we all walked out, he started spinning again. This caused the path we came from to disappear out of thin air. Actually, it's just moved elsewhere as the maze as a whole rotates. So far, all of Su Chen's techniques have been deduced by the expert team. Anyone who sees this delicate operation will not believe it. However, Su Chen did it. He did every step of the way to calculate the experts. At this moment, they truly saw how terrifying this man was. I just feel a chill down my spine. Damn it, after hearing what they said, I seemed to understand a little bit, but I still couldn't believe it. Can a human do this? It turns out that everything is in Su Chen's hands. I was worried about it for so long before. Su Chen, please accompany me in my relationship. I finally figured it out. It turns out that the longest road in the world is Su Chen's 1,000-layer routine. Su Chen, I admit that I loved you, but now we are separated by a sad and thick barrier called IQ. I originally thought that when I was a child, my intrigues with my parents about hiding mobile phones were enough to make me lose my temper. But after seeing Su Chen's methods today, I realized that there are people outside the world and there are mountains outside the mountains. When I thought that people like this had been earning several thousand yuan a month before, I suddenly felt a little more balanced. It's okay, I just can't afford a house. Sister, I have a little money. Su Chen, come on. Blank. The rich woman appears. Sister, my stomach is not good either. Chapter 92 The Confused Expert Panel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 92, Confused Expert Group. Taiwan Novel Network. The atmosphere of the barrage was quite relaxed. After all, watching the excitement is not too big a deal. However, the expert group was a little uncomfortable, when Shi Yong used the butt of his gun to hit the lock on the iron bar in front of him, but it had no effect. The solid steel lock cannot be destroyed by human power. I can see it, this is an iron cage. Shuyong rubbed his numb arms. Luo Ji on the side was frantically scrolling through how to unlock videos on the internet. However, because of the Dragon Kingdom's clean network, the knowledge about lock-picking and theft could not be found at all. At a time when everyone is at a loss, they suddenly felt that the surroundings of the iron cage and the floor beneath their feet were shaking slightly, at the same time. On the stage in front of the circus, the performance was still going on step by step. The lights are bright and the seats are noisy. The last show, Magic, the magician in a sparkling tuxedo stood on the stage with a smile on his face and bowed slightly to the audience. At the same time, the beautiful female companion beside him opened the curtain, revealing the device behind it. It was a square iron cage with a side of 2 meters. The magician shouted, "Next, I will ask this young lady to go into the iron cage and close the curtain. And when the curtain opens, it will be the moment to witness the miracle. This lady will disappear." As he spoke, he pointedly pointed at the iron cage in a circle, showing that there were no gaps. The gap between the iron rods is not large and cannot be squeezed out by one person. The beautiful female companion took the lead in applauding. However, this time, the applause from the audience was sparse, and the effect was not good. Instead, there were boos. "Alas, I have seen this kind of magic that turns people into nothingness too many times. Can we come up with something new? Brothers, what are you here to see? With such an audience, you can't just keep doing your old tricks, right? Shit, look at the floor under the iron cage on the stage. There are such obvious gaps. It is obvious that this is a movable plate. After all, when the black cloth is covered later, the floor will definitely fall together with the iron cage, into the cavity under the stage. Then the actress can run out, right? It's really meaningless to say that." Ba Shu 69 knew. Caritas, who was wearing a shirt, was sitting in the audience and also yawned slightly. It's now noon. Ever since she got off the plane, she had been holding on and not sleeping because she was eager to pursue Su Chen. The various thrills before were so exciting that people couldn't sleep, but once it gets a little boring, it's easy to get sleepy. Speaking of which, how come the seniors have been gone for so long? Logically speaking, Su Chen should have been caught by now. The top shirt Ming Ai whispered. "Why haven't you replied to my message?" From just now, she wanted to leave her seat and go directly to Shuyong and the others. It's a pity she can't leave, because now, there is a group of fake experts dressed as tourists. Their mission is to sit here and confuse Su Chen's spies. However, with such a thorough plan they made, it was unlikely that Su Chen would run away. This is called an urn. The urn, what's caught in the urn? Forget it, who cares, catch Su in the jar. Caritas held on to her shirt, pretending to be very interested, and went to watch the magic show on the stage. In fact, as a detective, she has good observation skills. She has already seen the mystery of this magic at a glance. The principle is actually the size of the cage. The magician has now covered the iron cage with black cloth, and only the square outline of the top of the cage can be seen. It seems that the cage is motionless. However, the top of the iron cage is not actually welded to the cage. It can be removed. On the stage, the top of the cage is supported by 4 iron bars to maintain its shape, while the body of the cage will be lowered together with the floor. Then, replace the body with a new empty iron cage and lift it up. This new iron cage will be slightly smaller than the previous one, so the shape is supported by the lid of the iron cage and covered with black cloth. So it cannot be seen from the outside. That's the secret to this magic. After knowing this, Usuji Caritas lost all her energy. The audience was also very uninterested. On the stage, the magician was still shouting vigorously. "Good. I can already feel that our young lady has been rescued by mysterious power. Now, is the time to witness the miracle." That he pulled the curtain down. Inside, the confused expert team is revealed in an iron cage. Chapter 93. The whole audience was shocked, and the gun was snatched away by a flying hook. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 93. The whole audience was shocked. Flying hook snatched the gun. The moment the curtain was lifted, the originally noisy auditorium lost its voice for a moment, as if the mute button had been pressed. All the audience looked at the experts in the iron cage with almost dull eyes. My mind goes blank. Is there a hidden program here? Caritas Shangshan, who was sitting in the front row, felt her head buzzing. For a moment, he forgot to go up and rescue the expert team, and just sat motionless on the chair, her eyes searched back and forth inside the iron cage. My mind is filled with all kinds of questions. What's going on? Where is Su Chen? What on earth did he do? Caritas Shangshan didn't know what the other members of the expert team had experienced in this short period of time. Why was the situation that was originally bound to win completely reversed in these 10 minutes? Looking at the experts locked in a cage in front of me, I thought of Su Chen's name again. She just felt a little confused in her heart. It seemed that it was from this moment that he truly realized what kind of opponent they were facing. On stage, the magician, who had been facing the audience since just now, was stunned for a moment when he saw the audience's reaction. Is this magic so effective? For so many years of performing magic, this was the first time he encountered such an explosive reaction. Could it be that I performed too well? Sure enough, high-end magic performances only require the simplest techniques. The magician was overjoyed. His recent performances have been underestimated and even left out. Even the audience in this scene was extremely disdainful at the beginning. He saw all of this, however, the final effect was so explosive. Sure enough, God will not kill me. 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Heshi, don't bully the middle-aged and poor. In the magician's heart, thousands of grass and mud horses gallop past. However, as a veteran on stage, he still looked calm on the surface, smiling and saying, "Don't be surprised, everyone, after disappearing, I will change that lady back again." As he said that, he turned back, intending to take a look at his stage effect. Then, he saw a group of people in his cage. Damn it. The magician's expression was exactly the same as that of the audience when he saw the expert panel. Something doesn't seem right. I stepped on the horse and conjured up a bunch of things. The entire stage fell into an eerie silence at the same time. As for the netizens in the live broadcast room, the barrage has already started flying. Holy shit, I really didn't expect this appearance. The expert panel was really miserable. The last time it was this miserable was the last time. An unknown expert Duan just smiled and said nothing. Su Chen, you are so bad, ha 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 ha, but I like it, please have more. I asked what the use of that cage was. It turned out to be a magic show connected to the stage. This scene is worthy of increasing the popularity of the live broadcast. Su Chen really is, he understands the effects of variety shows so well. Why don't I have this magical brain circuit? Don't talk nonsense. Su Chen was obviously too tired from watching the expert team chasing people, so he gave them a place to rest. Where could he find such a gentle person? He really made me cry to death. On the surface, it seems that the experts were trapped by Su Chen, but in fact, I have also fallen into Su Chen's trap and cannot get out. Please take note of the above. And at the same time, the background of the live broadcast of chasing the murderer, the well-dressed teacher Guang Quan and Duan Yu were sitting behind the table, and their moods were fluctuating. Su Chen's methods are indeed bizarre. What happened to our experts is regrettable. The game involved makes people's brain hang up. Teacher Guang Quan said excitedly, putting the microphone to Duan Yu's mouth. I wonder how Officer Duan felt after watching it. Duan Yu glanced worriedly at Chen Qiming, who was pinching his nose to show off Wuxiang Jingqi water outside the painting. Then, he took the phone, cleared his throat, and said in a deep voice. I understand very well, especially understand, and empathize with the mentality of the current members of the expert panel. It can only be said that Su Chen is not only a technically strong opponent, he is also a psychologically strong enemy. From my personal experience, he is particularly good at messing with people's mentality, thereby achieving the effect of causing the opponent to perform abnormally. When he said this, Duan Yu seemed to have past events lingering in his mind. He rubbed his temples and sighed slightly. It can only be said that every step of the way leads to wisdom. I hope this lesson can help the experts gain something, go longer, and help us catch up with Su Chen. At least, from my personal point of view, I still side with the experts, not only because of their team intelligence, but also because of their guns. This is overwhelming power, which means that Su Chen cannot escape the ending of failure as long as he is not careful. That's why, even though the experts have been led into the cage, Su Chen still doesn't dare to show up. Here Duan Yu's analysis, teacher Guangchuan couldn't help but nodded. What he said made sense. What he said made sense. In other words, the current situation is that although the expert team was frustrated, Su Chen did not dare to approach them. It seems that the confrontation between the two sides has not yet settled. Let us wait and see how the expert group will fight back next. Teacher Guangchuan said loudly. After he finished speaking, the director cut the scene back to the circus stage. At this moment, after a period of sluggishness, there was extremely warm applause from the audience. The audience always enjoys watching the fun and not taking it too seriously. At this moment, they only feel that the tickets this time are worth it. Roaring laughter, mixed with whistling, swept towards the expert group in the center of the stage. It makes people feel annoyed when they hear it. Yusuji Caritas in the front row couldn't help but cover her ears and frowned. Damn it, these adults are so rude. She muttered, quickly got up and ran towards the stage, trying to help her teammates out. On stage, the expert team also came to their senses, and various noisy sounds rang in their ears. Don't be impatient. Shi Yong put an arm across the faces of the somewhat confused members and said in a calm voice. When encountering complicated situations, you must be calm, put your guns up, and don't point your guns at the crowd. Keep an eye on Su Chen. Once you are sure you see him, don't hesitate to shoot directly to cover Caritas. Yes. Hearing Shi Yong's words, the other two police officers with guns, who were originally a little upset because of Su Chen's play and the noise of the audience, gradually calmed down. Like Shi Yong, they raised their guns and planned to wait for Shangshan Mingai's rescue. However, at the moment when the gun in his hand was cocked, Shi Yong and the two police officers suddenly felt that their muzzles seemed to have hit something. When Shi Yong looked up, he saw that some kind of thin lines had been arranged densely above the iron cage at some time. The muzzle of the gun is wrapped in these thin lines. Wipe it, are you coming again? Shi Yong had taken advantage of Su Chen's tricks before and reacted very quickly. When he saw these transparent thin lines, his heart suddenly sank again. In an instant, he understood that this was Su Chen's trap again. However, this reaction speed is still not as fast as the triggering speed of the mechanism. When Shi Yong raised his head, several thumb-thick hemp rope sets swooped down from the aerial acrobatics platform above the circus. The speed was so fast that in the blink of an eye, the guns of Shi Yong and the others were accurately placed. Chapter 94, Showdown on Stage. Su Chen's terrifying plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This sudden scene caused another series of exclamations from the audience. Damn, there's a show. How come this news is so accurate? Su Chen's burden is greater than I imagined. He is trying to seize the gun. The clown at the back of the stage was stunned when he saw this scene. My brain feels buzzing. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Isn't this the performance prop I gave to Miss Chen? These people were still in shock. In an iron cage, the three gunmen in the expert team reached out and were about to untie the noose. The next second, there was a strong pulling force on the rope attached to the head of the gun. The force was so great that although the police officers tightly grasped the firearms in their hands, their entire bodies were lifted directly into the air and hit the top of the iron cage. Grab the gun. After all, Shi Yong was someone who had been on the battlefield, and he had the fastest reaction. He let out a low cry as early as the gun was caught. He grabbed the gun with one hand, and with the other hand, he had already taken out the windproof lighter he had used for smoking from his pocket, turned the flame to the maximum, and burned it on the rope. Snap! In less than a second, the flame from the lighter burned the rope here. Shi Yong shook his arm, which was sore from being pulled, and saw that the other two police officers had already grabbed their guns and were dragged into the air by ropes, and the gun, half of it, was pulled out of the bars of the iron cage. The two police officers were stuck in the cage, their faces turned red, but they did not let go. In desperation, Shi Yong put one foot on the iron rod of the cage, flew up to grab the other policeman's gun, stretched out his arm and used fire to ignite the rope. Only a pop sound was heard, and the rope broke. They both fell down and hit the ground. Before he could take a breath, Shi Yong had no time to take care of the police officer who fell to the ground. He immediately stood up and reached for the last police officer. However, this time, it was too late. when Shuyong solved the two ropes here, the police officer was first dragged into the air and hit against the top of the iron cage, he was pulled out again, and his body was stuck in the gap of the cage. His entire arm, including the gun in his hand, had been pulled out of the iron cage. He didn't let go until the muscles in his hand were strained and he lost strength in an instant. The gun flew out of his hand, hung by the rope, and rushed towards the high platform quickly. In less than a second, he was dragged 4 or 5 meters into the air. Puff. The fallen police officer was caught by Shuyong. He covered his arm and gritted his teeth and said, "I'm sorry, Officer Shi, I didn't catch him." As a frontline gun-carrying police officer, he knows very well how serious a matter it is to lose a gun. "It's okay, it's not your problem." Shuyong put the policeman down, and then a few cold lights flashed in his eyes. In just a moment, he raised the gun with one hand, and the black muzzle was pointed directly at the gun that was pulled into the air. It was impossible for him to let Su Chen get this gun. An ordinary fugitive and a fugitive with a gun were completely different concepts in terms of harm. I would rather take the risk and shoot the gun out directly than let it fall into Su Chen's hands, and with his 100% hit rate on the 20-meter moving target, it was easy to do this. However, in the midst of lightning and flint, Shuyong's muzzle closely followed the gun rising in midair, and his finger was already on the trigger. A strong light suddenly came down from the high platform. It shined directly on Shuyong's upturned face. It is the spotlight used on the stage to enhance the atmosphere. Grass. Shuyong was dazzled by the light, cursed secretly, and his eyes instantly stung and narrowed. At the same time, he pulled the trigger and fired 2 Easter eggs with a bang-bang click. Unfortunately, due to the interference of the light, the gun that was pulled into the air was submerged in the light. Even Shuyong's accuracy was off. The 2 bullets whizzed past the gun. It will not be harmed at all. Damn. Bang! Shuyong endured the sting and aimed at the spotlight coming from the high platform. He raised his hand and an Easter egg hit the lampshade. Su Chen was also a person who abided by the rules of the game, so he turned off the lights in response. However, it's too late. Just a second or two later, the gun had already been put away on the high platform. Shuyong's eyes had not yet recovered from the dizziness. In a daze, he raised his eyes and saw a beautiful figure flashing past on the high platform and then disappearing. Who else could it be besides Su Chen? Hiss. This kid is a bit evil. Shuyong murmured. He realized that this was a trap set by Su Chen specifically for himself. When Su Chen peeked at himself from the previous camera, he might be able to tell that he was a soldier. Therefore, a secret thin wire was arranged above the iron cage in advance. The audience present was already dumbfounded. This scene of flying ropes and grabbing guns is very much like a blockbuster movie. Unexpected, completely unexpected. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have thought it was a special effect. The top-shirted Caritas stood not far from the stage like a piece of wood as if she had been cast in a body-fixing spell. This is also possible. Her big eyes revealed an expression of disbelief. The scene just now took place in just a dozen seconds. However, it brought her the greatest shock. In the live broadcast room, even the barrage disappeared for a few seconds, because netizens were also stunned. After a while, the barrage reappeared, and it grew explosively. Explosion. This is the most explosive scene I have ever seen. I have never been so excited even when watching movies in recent years. I can only say that this trick is really a bit cool. Damn, it turns out that this is how Su Chen used the clown's device that he borrowed before. Brothers, I dare to infer that Su Chen's thinking is quite meticulous. He first installed a camera in the car and learned the basic information of the new members of the expert group. Yes, he should have inferred that Shuyong was a soldier through his posture and behavior, so he would also have the habits of a soldier. The most important thing for a soldier is that the muzzle of the gun should not be pointed at the crowd. Su Chen realized this and knew that when Shuyong was exposed on the stage, facing the audience, he would definitely order someone to raise the muzzle of the gun. So that's why Su Chen arranged the mechanism above the cage in advance. This step-by-step calculation is really brilliant. So, Su Chen sent the expert group into the cage of the magic show and raised it to the stage. In fact, he was not doing a show effect or a prank. His real purpose was to let Shuyong trigger the mechanism so that he could grab the gun. It's terrible, this man is really terrible. Fortunately, we have an omniscient perspective, otherwise we really can't understand his meticulous layout. Chapter 95 Su Chen deliberately left clues. The location of the real girl. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 95, Su Chen deliberately left clues. A real girl's place. After Su Chen took away the gun, Murder Live, backstage studio, Duan Yu and teacher Guang Quan sat blankly behind the chairs for a long time, speechless for a long time. Officer Duan, you just said that the advantage of the expert team is the gun, teacher Guangchuan asked cautiously. Duan Yu nodded numbly. Now, do they still have an advantage? Teacher Guangchuan touches the soul directly. Duan Yu's answer was also quite good. Here, there are still advantages. What's the advantage? Our modern criminal investigation construction has a long history and rich functional subdivisions. It implements a large base elite strategy, is guided by practice, and develops collaboratively with multiple experience methods. No, Officer Duan, I just want to ask, what are the advantages of our expert team compared to Su Chen? We have focused on combating crime. In the past 30 years of planning, we have carried out phased and step-by-step planning and deployment of the practical significance of this guidance. Officer Duan, what is the advantage of our expert team? Don't ask, asking is justice. Teacher Guangchuan was stunned for a moment. How do you say this? Duan Yu said with a calm expression. It makes sense, right? Our teachers have told us since childhood that justice must prevail. Teacher Guangchuan, on the circus stage, Su Chen put away the gun he had just caught, quickly untied the rope and checked it. This kind of paintball gun is specially provided by the murderous live broadcast team. There were very few bullets in each gun, only 8 rounds, the one in his hand is still unfired and has a full magazine. He loaded the magazine with 2 clicks and nodded with satisfaction. This trip is not in vain, as expected. After he obtains the gun, the bounty level will increase, because, in the Dragon Kingdom, a country where guns are banned, the danger level of a desperado with a gun and a desperado without a gun can be at least 3 levels higher. Because of the gun, the public had almost no ability to resist when facing this thug. If all 8 bullets from this gun were fired at a crowded station or rally, the safety of dozens of people might be affected. This is definitely a vicious event within a vicious event. Therefore, in the daily work of police officers, not to mention losing a gun, even if they lose a part or a bullet, they must be held accountable at all levels. The number of guns and bullets in each police station is recorded in files and checked regularly. Wariness about guns is engraved in the DNA of every police officer who can carry a gun. This is why the police officer whose gun was holstered by Su Chen would rather strain his arm muscles than let go. Su Chen put away his gun, took a deep breath, and made a salute gesture to the police officers below through the high platform board. Although he is a fugitive in the variety show game, in real life, in fact, he is a policeman, I still admire my colleagues very much. Su Chen arranged his things, put the gun in his waist where he could easily reach it, and then hurriedly left the platform. He knew he was leaving. We need to go to Shirogane City as soon as possible. On stage, Usuji Karatas, magician and others finally found the spare key to the iron cage. They opened the heavy iron locks and rescued the expert team trapped inside. Should I say it or not, Su Chen is really a bit evil. Shuyong came out and kept repeating this sentence. After all, if something like Su Chen's inexplicable attack happened once, it might be an accident, and twice it might be due to carelessness. After being attacked again and again, there is nothing to say. It can only be Su Chen's design. The other experts remained silent, but there was a clear sense of frustration in their eyes, especially the old man Qin Ming and others. If it were not in public, he would even want to smash the wall. There is only one exception, Luo Ji. He walked out of the cage silently, his face still looking neither happy nor sad. It seemed that in his eyes, Su Chen just won an insignificant round. He is not serious yet. The real showdown has not started yet. Well, Officer Qin, please take this comrade back to the police station first to deal with the injury. Luo Ji helped the policeman who was covering his arm and dealt with the situation in an orderly manner. Bai Su and others took advantage of this time to explain the situation to the audience and actors present. They are part of the Murder Chase live program team, and the chief beauty just now was actually the fugitive they were chasing, Su Chen. It turned out to be him. No wonder, how could that beautiful young lady have made such an astonishing improvement in strength in such a short period of time? That the magician looked enlightened. Thinking about it, he was even a little scared, because he originally planned to get close to this beauty after the show. Behind the magician, the other beauties who had come up to prepare for the curtain call all looked at each other in shock. Their eyes showed surprise, and they subconsciously covered their chests. Just now, they were inviting this reborn chief beauty to come and wash themselves together. It was a pity that the chief beauty didn't get together and they didn't get together. Think about it now, more regrettable. Su Chen may not lose money, but they will definitely make a profit. But at this moment, suddenly a person broke into people's sight. When everyone turned around, they found an actor in a clown costume standing blankly in the corner of the stage. You are the little one who made trouble for me on the stage. Aha! Shan Ming'ai pointed at him and was about to complain when Bai Su covered her mouth. Anyone with eyesight can see it. There's something wrong with this clown's current state. No, not only is it wrong, it can be described as being devastated. You said, Miss Chen, she is Su Chen pretending to be, that the clown's voice trembled slightly. Shi Yong nodded and sighed. It's a pity, brother. Judging from our encounter, we can confirm that he is Su Chen. No, it's impossible. The smile painted on the clown's face looked increasingly hazy at the moment. He tremblingly put his hand into his pocket and took out an envelope. She also gave me a movie ticket and put it in an envelope in such a ceremonial manner. How could it be fake? Sure, look at you, you are so incapable of speaking, why don't you be more tactful? Luo Ji nudged Shi Yong with his elbow and quickly stepped forward to explain. I'm sorry, brother, we just want to say that the beauty you have been with you today is actually a boss. Clown, that if you can't speak, you don't have to speak. Suddenly his heart moved and he held the envelope in his hand. Originally, he was reluctant to open this envelope, but at this time, he didn't care so much anymore. No, maybe you are wrong. That there was a little hope in the clown's eyes, and his hands moved faster. The opening of the envelope was quickly removed. He wants to prove this beauty's innocence. She is real. The next second, 2 movie tickets fell from the envelope. Along with it, there was a stack of red banknotes and a note. Clown brothers, sorry, actually I am Su Chen, yes, the one on TV. I'm sorry. It was because of the needs of the show that I pretended to be a beauty and evaded pursuit. It was really a helpless move. I am relatively poor. This 400 yuan is not much, so I treat it as buying you a drink. It is not easy for you to help me deal with the expert team. It is not easy for you to be busy. P.S., dude, I'm giving you these 2 movie tickets. Be brave and invite the real girl. P.S., of course, you may not be able to find her now. I'll tell you where she is. P equals S, A equals person, hashtag at, UN asterisk percent asterisk UN asterisk UN percent UN percent asterisk percent. Let the expert team solve this code and find her. No. Chen, girl. Look at the black and white words in front of you. The clown's heart was screaming. At this time, in my heart, snowflakes are flying, the north wind is blowing, and the world is vast. There is nothing more sad than heartbreak. So what if he catches the real chief beauty? The real master doesn't have the skills that Su Chen showed. The original chief beauty was just a favored and arrogant vase. She didn't have the interesting soul and gentle personality like Su Chen. Tear off the password part of the note and hand it to the expert team. The clown silently took the $100 bills and left. At noon that day, he leaned behind the tent, drank wine all day long, and bought a bag of Chinese seeds extravagantly. After smoking several cigarettes, the clown still didn't understand this absurd world. Chapter 96 Caesar Cipher. Su Chen's Intention. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 96 Caesar Code. Su Chen's Intention. At the same time, Taiwan Novel Network. Over there on the expert panel, Qin Ming and another police officer had already supported the injured police officer and left first. The remaining Shi Yong, Yusuji Mingai, Bai Su, Luo Ji and Wang Yanqing stared intently at the password left by Su Chen. I'm not good at it. I can't recite the 28 English letters smoothly. Shi Yong frowned and muttered, then turned to ask the others. You guys have a relatively high level of education. Do you see anything? Caesar Cipher. Shang Shi Caritas said. Generally, fugitives go to great lengths to erase their traces. This is the first time I've seen someone like Su Chen take the initiative to provide clues. However, he may not have good intentions. Using a password may be an intellectual provocation. Maybe he simply didn't think it was exciting enough, so he deliberately left clues so that we could follow his path. Bai Su interjected. Such examples are not uncommon. In the platinum case that caused a stir in the city, the suspect once showed obvious provocation to the police. From a psychological perspective, it's a sign of extreme confidence. Normally, the police would be filled with indignation when faced with the murderer's provocation. However, facing the clues that Su Chen deliberately left behind, the expert team at this time did not have much trouble in their hearts. Instead, he felt that this was what Su Chen could do. This is the first time I've heard of this Caesar cipher. Luo Ji touched his chin and turned to look at Caritas Yusuji. How to solve it? Yusuji Caritas took out her tablet, opened the writing pad on it, and said while writing with a capacitive pen. Caesar's crack is actually not difficult, but it can be quite time-consuming. It was originally in the form of a password engraved on the ring by King Caesar. King Caesar's ring was 2 rings that could slide against each other. Each ring was engraved with 26 English letters connected end to end. The way to solve the Caesar cipher is to turn the 2 rings according to the key, which is the P equals S mentioned by Su Chen, so that they correspond, and the subsequent cipher can be unlocked. This is the solution to the 2-level Caesar cipher. Luo Ji nodded and said. It doesn't sound difficult. There are 12 similar passwords on the note left by Su Chen, which means. Yes. Yusuji Mingai nodded, with a distressed look on her face. The example I gave just now is a 2nd-level Caesar cipher, and what Su Chen left behind is a 13th-level Caesar cipher. So it's more troublesome to crack, the calculations are huge, and it takes a certain amount of time. 13th floor, Shi Yong felt a toothache when he heard it. Although he didn't understand it, he knew that it would definitely delay things. The barrage in the live broadcast room also fell into deep thought. Damn it, the 13-level Caesar cipher, you only focus on how difficult it is to solve, but what I focus on is how difficult it is to design. When you said this, I also realized that it is not easier to tell the difficulty of a difficult problem than to solve it, and it may even be twice as difficult. That is to say, while Su Chen was confronting the expert team, he also came up with such a difficult password, so terrifying. Caesar code, I know it too. The first time I heard about it was when I was watching Dodo Adventure Team and Little Tiger Squad. I remember that it took me an entire afternoon to solve this thing. While discussing on the barrage, Yusuji Caritas kept moving and began to calculate quickly. Leave it to me. I have solved similar puzzles before and am quite skilled at it. Although decryption is troublesome, just standing still is of no use, so it is better to act as soon as possible. She was immersed in calculations and opening the 3rd level of password. Suddenly I heard a voice floating above my head. Su Chen said that he put the beauty in the locker in the 3rd row and 4th column in the lounge. Ming Ai was stunned for a moment, then looked up and found that Luo Ji was speaking. She said in disbelief. Don't you understand this? How did you calculate it? Luo Ji showed a very confused expression and said. Verbal calculation. You told me how to solve the password before. I gave it a try. Caritas on top, that I forgot that there was such a monster beside me. She slowly put down the tablet in her hand. On it, less than a third of the Caesar code was completed. She sighed slightly. In fact, Shanshan Mingai was also a well-known genius in Sakura country, but standing with Luo Ji, she always felt like she was being crushed, and the barrage, at this moment, also raised a lot of question marks. Luo Ji, people say no. Perhaps, from Luo Ji's point of view, it would be difficult for him to understand the world of ordinary people. Shit, I broke my defense. Just like ordinary people can't understand why geniuses are so awesome, geniuses can't understand why ordinary people are so stupid. Brothers, I'm not going to lie. At first, I clicked on the live broadcast room with a happy attitude, but now, my mother asked me why I knelt down to watch the live broadcast. What I'm thinking about now is, why did Su Chen design such a password? Can't he just tell us the location? Luo Ji said calmly, with deep meaning in his tone. What I'm thinking about now is how your brain grows. Yusujiming, I said sourly, if this brain were given to her, she would probably be as famous as Sherlock Holmes of the Parrot Kingdom, and she would never be as bad as Luo Ji. Instead, Bai Su was stunned for a moment when he heard Luo Ji's words. Isn't it provocation or showing off? This was tantamount to denying her previous reasoning. No. Facing everyone's surprise, Luo Ji smiled silently. Now I have a certain understanding of Su Chen. Do you think he is the kind of person who does such things for no reason? He must have deep intentions. This sentence made everyone think deeply. Indeed, given Su Chen's character, his intention is likely to be more than that. Brother Luo, let's talk about it. Shi Yong raised his eyebrows and looked at the happy little brother in front of him. He had a feeling that Luo Ji seemed to be a little serious. I discovered something interesting. Luo Ji said. Before, when Su Chen dealt with Officer Duan, he used hacking technology. In the circus, Su Chen used detection and countermeasures to deal with the Shi. You see, every time Su Chen chooses the areas where the opponent is good at and wins the game with them. So this time, Su Chen chose to use his brain power to design a password, which shows. Hearing this, Shi Yong raised his head fiercely. Su Chen is declaring war. Brother Luo, it seems he really wants to touch you. Chapter 97, The Beauty in the Closet. The beginning of the Platinum Case. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 97, The Beauty in the Closet. The beginning of the Platinum Case. It seems that Su Chen has gained a deeper understanding of the expert group in the circus game. He even knows the true strengths of Luo Ji, who does not have a strong sense of presence. If this time Su Chen is really declaring war on him as Luo Ji said, then I am looking forward to it. However, I am very curious about how Su Chen will win, because if the other people in the expert group can be called elites, then Luo Ji is non-human. Yes, the excellence of other experts can be traced and understood, but Luo Ji seems to be born non-human, so strong that it makes no sense. Is it possible that Su Chen will also have a brain battle with him? If so, I really can't be sure who will win. Anyway, these two people are quite mysterious. Luo Ji is indeed very perverted, but everyone knows Su Chen. He may not have any trump cards left, and his trump cards have not been exposed. Interesting, very interesting. I am looking forward to how the next showdown will unfold. The expert team is solving Su Chen's puzzle. On the other side, Su Chen had already come to the back exit of the circus when the expert team was still locked in the iron cage. This is a secret side door, which was told to him privately by the circus staff. The circus owner thought that only he knew this place. In fact, all the insiders knew it. This is the place where Su Chen and the circus owner agreed to meet and go to Platinum City. As Su Chen walked, he felt a little guilty. In order to successfully seize the gun, he connected the noose given by the clown to a small engine on the high platform used to transport things to high places. I didn't expect that the police officer was so desperate that he would rather hurt his arm than let go. If he pulled the rope with his bare hands, he might not be able to take the gun. However, it takes time for the expert team to deal with the injured personnel. Indirectly bought more time for himself to escape. Thinking like this, Su Chen suddenly felt a ray of light in front of his eyes. He looked up and found that he had walked to the side door. At the exit, a Peugeot was parked in the shadows with the rear lights on. He pulled the gun out from behind him, opened the door without hesitation, and sat in the back seat. In the seat of the cab, the boss of the circus was shocked and did not turn his head back. You are here. Su Chen chuckled. Yes, I am here. You shouldn't have come, Su Chen. That the circus owner suddenly called out Su Chen's real name, not some beautiful woman Xiao Chen. At the same time, he pressed the door lock at hand. With a swish, the whole car was locked tightly. For this type of Peugeot car, after the cab door is locked, the door can only be opened after the cab is unlocked. The circus owner turned the car keys in his hand. Su Chen, the fact that you can get here means that something went wrong with the expert team and their operation failed. I admit that I was gambling. I waited for you here according to the previous agreement, waiting for you, and betting on the 1 in 10,000 chance that you would fall into the trap. But I didn't expect you to really come. Boss Zhang of the circus turned around and looked at the peerless beauty in the back seat calmly. You fooled the expert team, but ignored me. After going through so many things in the circus, I already knew your true identity. Do you know how much your reward is now, Su Chen? People always fail in the details. When you got into my car without any defense. Click. While the circus owner was chattering, Su Chen just raised his hand and swiftly loaded the paintball gun in his hand. Then, he pressed it against the back seat of the cab. The circus owner stared at the gun in Su Chen's hand, his expression changed from doubt to shock, and then to dullness. Su Chen said. I will pretend that I didn't hear what you said just now, please say it again. The circus owner took a deep breath, then, he showed a kind and sincere smile. Miss Chen, you just came. I have been waiting for you for a long time. I am waiting for you to go to Platinum City together. Come on, sit tight, let's go now. Su Chen pushed the muzzle forward again. In an instant, he regained the elegant posture of the beauty. He stretched out his other hand, slapped the ID he got from the chief beauty on the co-pilot seat, and ordered. Boss Zhang, Xiao Chen, my ID card is here. When I pass the city border later, it is not convenient for me to hand it to the police. Please cover for me. Sure, that when you are a hostage, you are afraid that the kidnapper will suddenly be polite to you. Boss Zhao felt the hard object on his back and nodded repeatedly without any hesitation. However, Su Chen did not look satisfied after hearing this. You act too nervous, it's easy to be suspected. He said lightly. Are you doing this on purpose? Relax. Hey, the boss collapsed in his seat instantly. Don't relax so much, drive normally. Normal people, do you understand? Su Chen knocked heavily on the back seat. Get your pose right. Okay. Proof, guns are the best tranquilizers, people pointed at by guns can always calm down quickly. Hearing Su Chen's words, Boss Zhang quickly relaxed his muscles and facial muscles, sat in the driver's seat as usual, and started the car. Ms. Chen, how about this pose? He asked weakly. Okay, keep it. Su Chen nodded, and then his voice suddenly became fierce. When you get to the border, don't play tricks, don't let the police see my gun. I have always been timid. If I get scared and my hands shake, I might accidentally fire, you know. Gun? Boss Zhang put on an innocent face and said blankly. Miss Chen, you are joking. We don't have guns here. I just took you to the Platinum City Chess Academy to participate in an event. Su Chen smiled. The young man is teachable. Expert team aside, after all misunderstandings were resolved and the audience dispersed, 2 circus staff led the way, followed by Shi Yong, Luo Ji and other experts, and rushed to the lounge mentioned in Su Chen's code. The magician silently put the signatures of several people into his pocket, pointed to the room in front and said. Everyone, this is it, come on. Shi Yong stopped and did not move forward. Calculated, Su Chen doesn't have much time, and there are people coming and going in the lounge, he can't set a trap here. He thought about it in his heart, and then used the tip of the gun to open the curtain and looked inside vigilantly. Shi Yong admitted that after he fell into so many traps of Su Chen, he felt a little paranoid. He nodded and motioned everyone to go in until he was sure it was safe. The cabinet in the 4th column of the 3rd row. Luo Ji stepped forward and opened the cabinet door, then, he was slightly stunned. In front of him was a beautiful woman tied up with ropes, and her appearance was the same as Su Chen's, it's just that the lines are not so soft. The difference is that a bright red horizontal line is smeared on the neck of this beauty. this means that she is now a body that was killed by slashing the throat. This method of killing. It's exactly the same as the Bai Jin case. Luo Ji's brows were tightly locked together. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Autopsy. The beauty who was hiding in the lounge did not speak when she saw the expert team. She played the role of a corpse seriously. It was obvious that she had been informed by the program team. Besides, Su Chen's way of tying was just a show, and he did not really tie it hard. However, the scene was very clear. Luo Ji looked around carefully, reached out, and took a piece of paper from the beauty. On it, Su Chen even wrote down the information of the deceased very considerately. Dead, Chen XX. Gender, female. Age, 22 years old. Description of the body. The neck was cut open, there were multiple knife wounds all over the body, the top was pushed to the armpit, and there was no obvious sign of injury. Who? Luo Ji let out a long breath and searched in his brain for a few tenths of a second, then, he nodded. I saw a copy of the case file of the platinum case at my brother's place before, and I was particularly impressed by the information of several victims. Su Chen's description is exactly the same as the first victim of the platinum case. He almost wrote this as the first on the paper. After hearing Luo Ji's words, Shang Shanming'ai suddenly became alert. This is the first victim, and according to Su Chen's previous practice, he will simulate the entire case, which means... Yes. Luo Ji scratched his hair and whispered. He will commit crimes in succession. There are currently 5 victims in the platinum case, and he still needs 3 more. This can be regarded as a declaration of war, which clearly means that he will kill 4 more people next. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the expert group fell into a brief silence, not only because of Su Chen's crazy behavior, it was also because Su Chen had announced that he would start the platinum case. When Su Chen first simulated the previous Jinling University dismemberment case, no one would have thought that this case would be solved in the future. This time, they hesitated. Although the platinum case and the Jinling University dismemberment case are both unsolved cases, the difficulty is not of the same order of magnitude. Wang Yanqing said. The Jinling University dismemberment case is a single case. The murderer disappeared after committing the crime, leaving no chance for the police to find him. If the murderer of the Jinling University dismemberment case commits a crime again, the chance of being caught is very high. However, the murderer of the platinum case committed crimes over a period of 18 years, committing crimes one after another, constantly dealing with the police, until he stopped committing crimes 20 years ago and disappeared from the crowd. I have no doubt that this murderer's anti-reconnaissance ability is far better than the murderer of the Jinling University dismemberment case. Wang Yanqing sighed. For 38 years, the police have filed cases again and again, 3 police chiefs have changed, and the old police chief has passed away, but the case is still unsolved. Moreover, recently, the murderer committed a crime again. Luo Ji followed Wang Yanqing's words and added. We are ashamed that he committed a crime in the public security system and left safely. Now, because the murderer committed a crime again, the case has been reopened. Mr. Cui Liwan also formed a special task force after leaving the program to pursue the murderer. But, how should I put it? According to the new intelligence, the murderer is funded by someone behind him, and the forces that funded him have not yet been identified. The water is probably very deep and not easy to investigate. Compared to the Jinling University dismemberment case, which was fought alone by the murderer, the platinum case involves particularly complicated things, and even involves an organization that has been funding crimes for decades. If nothing unexpected happens, this organization may also have inextricable connections with unsolved cases that have occurred or are occurring around the world. If we continue to investigate, it will not only be a difficult problem, but Su Chen's life may be threatened. Beside Luo Ji, Shang Shanming'ai's thoughts are flying, regarding the organization. Famous detective agencies in various countries are conducting a preliminary investigation. Before she came to Longguo, there was a senior in the Jintian Detective Agency who was investigating a serial murder case that was currently happening in Sakura country. According to him, it seems to be related to the organization. If Su Chen insists on going his own way on this path, he may end up investigating the same thing as his predecessors. In this case, the situation is too complicated, with both a variety show and a case. We'd better catch Su Chen as soon as possible. After the show, he will probably be directly assigned to your country's special case team, the frontline criminal investigation. Yusuji Aya said. I think it will be more convenient to investigate the case this way. Su Chen's role-playing game will only slow down the progress. We must not let him commit a second crime. We must interrupt him before that. There is no time to lose. This train of thought can only be said to be very strange. Luo Ji secretly complained a few words, while they were talking. Bai Su and others had already taken the beauty out of the cabinet, untied her, and when pulling the rope, Bai Su was suddenly stunned, because the rope was longer than she thought. It was connected to the depths of the box. Hiss. Bai Su looked at the number on the door of the box where the beauty was hidden before, 0225, somehow, she suddenly trembled in her heart and turned to look at Luo Ji, the only one who could recite the file. Mr. Luo Ji, the date of death of the first victim of the Bai Jin case is. It is February 25, 1982. As Luo Ji said, he followed Bai Su's gaze. When he saw the box door number that he had ignored before, he was also stunned, and then he took a breath. A terrifying guess lingered in his heart. Luo Ji stepped forward quickly, searching his mind for the memory of the victim's death date. The second person, October 5, 1982, the third person, December 30, 1982. He quickly opened the box with the corresponding number, then, everyone was completely stunned. In that cabinet, there were 2 more corpses. Chapter 99 3 Deaths Spanning a Year, Luo Ji reveals the inside story. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 99, Luo Ji reveals the inside story of the 3 deaths that spanned a year. When did Su Chen do this? Yusuji Mingai covered her mouth and said, she was just saying that she would never let Su Chen have the chance to kill the second victim. Shi Yong took out the kettle and took a sip of water. This kid's movements are too fast. Look at these victims. Except for Miss Chen, who was unaware at the beginning, everyone else is an employee of the circus, his spies. Su Chen resurrected the case and even tried to do it to his own people. It's so cruel. Shi Yong's words made everyone's minds go numb. They could imagine how Su Chen deceived these informants before leaving, and then solved them one by one. I'm afraid these circus employees would never have imagined that they would die in the hands of their boss Su Chen in this scene. Perhaps, from a mock criminal perspective, he never considered these people his allies, more like chess pieces that are moved randomly. Facts have proved that if you kill too many people, you will become numb. Many serial murderers also have a kind of indifference, which is exactly the same. When several people are having a conversation, Luo Ji had also checked the newly discovered 2 people. We have carefully checked here and can confirm that there are no other bodies. There are some new discoveries on the 2 newly released corpses. As Luo Ji spoke, he placed the 2 pieces of paper found from the corpse in front of everyone. This time, the message Su Chen left on the piece of paper was no longer as simple as the Chief Beauty's piece of paper. He recorded the deaths of 2 people in a style without any emotion. The second note read, deceased, XXX, age, 24 years old, gender, female. Date of death, October 5, 1982, description, the neck was cut open, and one side of the scalp was removed. There was DNA from the murderer in the body. Based on the location of the remains, it was determined that he had been violated after death. The third note read, deceased, XXX, age, 18 years old, gender, female, date of death, December 30, 1982, description, the neck was cut open, and tissues from many parts of the body were removed, privately. The murderer's DNA remained in the body. Based on the location of the remains and the contraction of the lower cavity, it was judged that he had been violated before his death. It's getting more and more perverted. Caritas's eyes showed deep disgust. Yes. Luo Ji nodded. The original crime time of the Platinum case spanned 18 years, and has now been adjusted to 38 years. 3 of them happened in the same year, and 1 happened 18 years later. The last one was the murder of Zhao Xiaoya that happened not long ago. After examining the deceased, the police came to an obvious conclusion, that is, the murderer's methods became more cruel and his control over the victim became more and more relaxed. Luo Ji pointed to the first of the 3 pieces of paper and continued. The first victim suffered a fatal wound on his neck and multiple stab wounds on his body. It can be inferred that the murderer was in a panic when committing the crime and encountered resistance from the victim, showing signs of a struggle. Moreover, no DNA of the murderer was found in the first victim's body. After the murder was completed, the murderer fled the scene without doing anything else. Then, he pointed to the second piece of paper. More than half a year later, the second victim's throat was sealed with one blow, cleanly, with no signs of struggle, and he was violated after death. I can only say that the murderer was not only skilled this time, but also much more calm. I have seen pictures of the deceased before her death. She was a very beautiful and quiet girl. After committing the crime, the murderer not only did not rush to escape, but also violated the body and took part of the scalp tissue as a souvenir. This time, the only thing the murderer was not confident about was that he killed first and then violated. It can be seen that he still did not have good control over the victim. After Luo Ji said this, everyone looked at the third piece of paper in unison. Chapter 3, on the piece of paper, it was clearly written, violated before death, and there were no strong traces of resistance. In other words, this time, the murderer overcame the last problem. He first controlled the victim, then slowly carried out the violation, and finally killed and left. Before leaving, he also cut off many, private, parts of the victim's body tissue. I don't know what his mentality was. Aftertaste. Commemorate. Provoking the police. The third victim is a girl who just went to college and lived alone during the winter vacation. Luo Ji said. After investigating the scene and traces of the body, the criminal investigators at the time speculated that the murderer first used threats to control the victim and tied him up with a rope without resistance. He may have promised the girl that she would survive if she did as he said. This resulted in the girl not resisting when he tied her up and losing her ability to resist. Therefore, the murderer seemed particularly calm in his subsequent violations and killings. Shanshan Caritas asked. Did the murderer take away the victim's tissue after the victim's death or before his death? Luo Ji thought for a moment and replied, Some of it is in life and some of it is after death. It's really, Yusuji Aya gritted her teeth, and then stopped talking. That is to say, Su Chen used these 3 corpses, and the notes left behind to show us the 1-year journey of the murderer of the platinum case. Luo Ji nodded. Who is the next one? Shi Yong interrupted. This was the most important question he thought, and in the expert group, only Luo Ji could recite it. Luo Ji heard this, pondered, and then said. According to the file records, the next victim is a 12-year-old girl. This time, the murderer's method of committing the crime was more calm and cruel, as if to vent his resentment for not continuing to kill for more than 10 years. It took him at least 3 hours from entering the little girl's room to escaping. The murderer even leisurely asked the little girl to make him a cup of tea. Okay. It's detailed enough. As a girl who is about the same age as the deceased, Yusuji Aya is obviously more likely to empathize with the victim. She quickly suppressed her emotions and calmed down, and just focused on thinking about the case. Su Chen will definitely go to reenact the 4th victim next. She turned to Shi Yong. Senior, do you remember the staff member we caught in the employee passage at that time? I remember he said that the chief beauty was also the etiquette lady of the Platinum City Chess Academy. Shi Yong said lightly. If nothing unexpected happens, Su Chen's purpose in doing so much in the circus is to delay us while switching to Platinum City. And get a gun. Damn, didn't he do it all? Shi Yong suddenly felt annoyed. It turns out that he bought himself plenty of time. Luo Ji opened his mobile phone and handed the message call on the screen to the other members of the expert group. Before I was in the iron cage, before Ming AI rescued me, I realized this and contacted the guard stationed in Baijin City to find the circus owner's car. As expected, I learned that at that time, Su Chen had already passed the border and may have arrived at the chess academy now. Shi Yong raised his head from the mobile phone screen. "Brother Luo, he declared war on you, what are you going to do? Every failure makes you wiser." Luo Ji put away his phone and smiled. Su Chen's current level can already alert half of the city's police force. This time we won't bother to fight wits and courage. We will fight an asymmetric war and let the police force of Baijin City circle around the chess academy. In any case, if Su Chen is trapped inside, he can't run away. Time forward, 10 minutes ago, Baijin City, Chess Academy Road, a black, inconspicuous Peugeot is galloping on the road. "Ms. Su. Miss Chen, we will be there in a few minutes." The driver, Mr. Zhang, said nervously while holding the steering wheel, feeling the hard object on his back. He didn't even dare to turn his head. In the back seat, Su Chen nodded slightly. At the same time, a low roar of an animal came out of his mind. "Is the big Shiji missing me again?" Su Chen, who is already an experienced driver, said he was not panicked at all, and even wanted to play a little. Chapter 100, What's Wrong with Playing Chess? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 100, What is the Crime of Playing Chess? Taiwan Novel Network. Since he found out on the internet that this big beast is actually a principled beast and will not attack people casually, suddenly I stopped being timid. The previous bite was probably to scare me, or it was a way to express affection. As an animal, that's understandable. I heard that the Heichi can only use its horns to poke guilty people, then Su Chen thought about his current identity, little police officer, the top 3 murderers on the Dragon Kingdom bounty list, simulation, serial murderer on the run, simulation, terrorist attack maker, simulation, multiple police assaulters, simulation. Hey, you still have to be careful, but simulated crimes shouldn't count. He thought secretly, but this beast's roar was familiar to him, which meant that there had been another change in the star map. Su Chen skillfully picked up Boss Zhang's mobile phone and clicked on the message on the homepage of the media platform. As expected, whether it is Douyin, block show, scarf, or station competition, the top 3 on the popularity list are their own news. Moreover, he now has his own traffic. Even when the media creates headlines, they must put his name first to attract traffic. The number of online users of the hashtag Chen Juehu live broadcast has exceeded 150 million. The number of chats in the scarf exceeded 200 million. Become the second person to break the 100 million mark after top-ranking Kunken. He is also the first to break 200 million. Hashtag Shisakura's first show, the number of online viewers exceeded 30 million. Hashtag, many internet celebrities publicly revealed that they were in a relationship with Su Chen. However, they were found to be rumors and were banned by the official. Hashtag past, exclusive report, after several years at the desk, he became a blockbuster. After hashtag Su Chen got hold of the gun, the program officials and the Reward Association jointly agreed to promote him to the second place on the current fugitive suspect reward list. What he will face next is arrest from the whole city. The number of online viewers exceeded 150 million, and it ranked second on the reward list. As expected. Su Chen let out a sigh of relief. Then, he fiddled with it again, but unfortunately, under the influence of the information filter, he didn't get any useful information. There are still at least 10 minutes before arriving at the chess courtyard. Su Chen took this opportunity to put down his phone and found sunglasses to wear on his face. Then, he closed his eyes and let his consciousness sink. Until the darkness in front of him dissipated, revealing a quaint room, but this time, he entered the room directly without having to find his way outside. On the desk, the flame as big as a candlestick made the red letters on the token shine brightly. The public's current reputation estimate, 15,427 eyes. It's ready to light up. It seems that I created a good sensational effect. Su Chen said happily. His mind has already established a connection with the star map, and he already knows it without having to look closely. Moreover, since his connection with the star map deepened, he found that he seemed to be able to freely choose which stars to light up. No need to follow the order. Su Chen walked to the star map and felt it a little. In addition to the stars that can be lit now, the next star must be lit up if its reputation reaches 18,000 eyes. My current audience in the Dragon Kingdom is saturated. The number has almost stagnated at 120 million people. And if all the extra 20 million people are born by the Sakura Kingdom, they will probably have almost reached their limit. After all, the total population of Sakura Kingdom is less than 1/10 that of Dragon Kingdom, less than 150 million. It is quite terrifying to have the current 30 million people watching it at the same time, and the ratio exceeds that of Dragon Kingdom, and if we want to reach the goal of lighting up the next star, we need at least 20 million more people. Where to find so many people? If you can get through the media in Kimchi Country, you can make it together, although the population of Kimchi Country is not even half of Sakura Country. The next step is to make it more sensational. Su Chen said to himself, the live broadcast of chasing the murderer is currently gaining momentum and is at its peak. There is no reason why Dragon Kingdom should not expand its channels. What he has to do is actually very easy, just make his escape exciting. The circus was like that at that time. At that time, I could have just run away without having to worry so much. The main reason why he took the risk to deal with the expert team was that he needed attention and reputation to enrich his skills and lay the foundation for solving the case. We all know that a fugitive who can't do tricks is not a good policeman. After confirming, Su Chen noticed that this time, another condition for lighting up the next star was added. Translated it is, you need to use a new skill once within a short period of time to defeat an expert who also has this skill. It's still a limited time mission. The place I'm going to right away is the Shirogane City Xiangqi Academy. A competition is being held there. There are probably many professional chess players. Su Chen's eyes wandered over the reliefs of the star map, hoping to find someone with the ability to understand. Suddenly, he stared at a star and couldn't help but said, "What a coincidence! God helps me." What is engraved on the relief of the star between them is none other than a chessboard. If you obtain this ability, it will be easy to complete time-limited tasks. However, he had some doubts. Most of the abilities he had acquired before were tricks used by petty thieves. What was wrong with playing chess? How could it be included in the star map?